Over at Marvel Comics, the publisher is getting ready to sunset the X-Men's epic Krakoan era with two dual miniseries serving as fan-favorite reflections of the comics that kicked off the Krakoan Age. Marvel is set to pit our X-Men team of heroes against AI threats as well as the aftermath of their fight with Orchis 10 years into the future. My name is Araco Braddock, and today, let's go ahead and preview Rise of the Powers of 10, Issue 1. Before we get deeper into the video, I want to encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button over on this video. The fight for Krakoa has been lost. 10 years ago, the mutants returned from their exile to try and reclaim the Earth from the forces of Orchis. They failed. Now, within the victorious Orchis, with their gauntlet choking the world, Nimrod and Omega Sentinel put their plan within a plan into action. They are to summon the binary god to assume everything in their accession. All that stands between them is the X-Men. What can they do? They're the X-Men. They'll find a way. That's their power. So begins a story beyond time and space with the rise of powers beyond our petty human intelligence. From writer Kieron Gillen and artist R.B. Silva comes half of the story that will bring the Krakoan Age to its conclusion. Rise of the Powers of 10 Issue 1 is written by Kieron Gillen, featuring art from R.B. Silva. We have colors from David Curiel, letters from VC's Clayton Cowles, design from Tom Muller and Jay Bowen, and a cover coming in over from R.B. Silva and David Curiel. Really think this cover does an excellent job showcasing Rise of the Powers of 10's fascinating team of mutant characters. We have Synch serving as the Professor, an AI version of Iron Man, Miss Marvel as the final Captain Krakoa, Shadow Tiger, and Wolverine as well here. Want to extend a thank you over to Comic Book Dispatch and preview the epic preview pages coming in from X-Men Krakoan founding artist R.B. Silva. Over across this issue, I think R.B. Silva did a phenomenal job and was really appreciative of the epic colors coming in over from color artist David Curiel. Curiel makes so many of the backgrounds bright, even though the subject matter with characters like Nimrod and Omega Sentinel attempting to raise an AI god to life is just so incredibly bleak here. I was really touched by some of the artwork over from R.B. Silva introducing this almost apocalyptic scenario over for our team of X-Men characters. I also love just how small Nimrod and Omega Sentinel are in the middle of the page as well here. Over on this next sequence, I thought it was incredibly harrowing to see a tense exchange over with Emma Frost, especially because she's kind of towards the brink of death here in the midst of a conversation between the X-Men villains of Omega Sentinel and Nimrod. I also found it was pretty epic and fascinating for Gambit and Mystique to sort of recognize their relationship with each other, especially as Gambit is attempting to kind of sacrifice himself in order to help out Mystique over within the narrative. Given the fact that Kieron Gillen is also writing this issue, there's a super epic moment over between Destiny and Mystique as well that I was really happy to experience over within the scope of the issue, mainly because so many of Kieron Gillen's comics have really been focused and dedicated to fleshing out the relationship between Destiny and Mystique on the page. I was also really impressed with some of the dialogue Kieron Gillen was able to craft in a later sequence with our team of Orchis characters kind of commiserating with each other, complete with Nimrod, Moira, Omega Sentinel, and some really interesting Orchis foes as well, like Dr. Stasis, who has a really prominent role in the pages of Rise of the Powers of 10. In fact, I would say in terms of this entire issue, one of the concepts that made me the most excited was seeing how Kieron Gillen was able to meld the ideas of Moira and the Sinisters together to power Orchis over behind the scenes. I think these plot threads across the X-Men titles have been so long running and referenced again and again and again. So getting the final couple pages of these miniseries closing out the Krakoan era, referencing these really important and key plot points was just a joy to experience in Rise of the Powers of 10-1. It was also pretty fascinating watching our team of the core X-Men heroes over in the future assemble with each other. It really feels like these team of characters are fighting almost a suicide mission or something that they won't come back from, given just how powerful Orchis is and how many team of X-Men characters that they've been able to take off the map here at this point over within the story. I was also really happy with the way that Kieron Gillen was able to close out some of the aspects of the issue, referencing some of these smaller touch points with Krakoa. I think the way that Gillen is able to craft some of the dialogue over for Mr. Sinister creates such a fascinating character who has this lanky sensibility about him. Also, RB Silva does an excellent job rendering Sinister with just so much detail on the page that readers get just a great sense of place as well. I also found that David Curiel's colors across Rise of the Powers of 10 were just strikingly beautiful, but really came into play towards the second half of the issue when a lot of the AI concepts really melded with the X-Men stories to just produce incredible imagery here. I also really want to hand it to how Kieron Gillen and Jerry Duggan are seemingly balancing the character of Rasputin 4 across both of these twin X-Men titles. Rasputin 4 was always a character who was really interesting to me, and really seeing Rasputin utilized more and more and more towards the end of Krakoa has me really excited to see where she's going to end up towards the end of both these series and in the new X-Men from the Ashes reboot. So at the end of the day here, I think Rise of the Powers of 10 issue 1 is just a phenomenal comic book showcasing just how many plot threads the Krakoan era was able to introduce. The way that Kieron Gillen is able to weave some of these ideas together and introduce seemingly like a new team of X-Men characters and strengthen all the plot threads between our Orchis heroes has me incredibly interested to check out the next couple issues over in this series. I am really taken with all the ambition that both Jerry Duggan, Kieron Gillen, and all the creators have really lent towards this group of X-Men series, and I really hope that just moving forward into X-Men Forever and in the next reboot, this same sense of ambition in long-term storytelling will still be utilized over in those comics. Thank you so much for coming to check out our video review over on Rise of the Powers of 10 issue 1, and we'll be back to see wherever this comic book is headed in the near future. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.